Do soulmates exist on the other side, or is that just a human life thing? Can you find love on the other side? What about intimacy? What does that even look like if we don't have these physical bodies? Do we have sex? Today we're talking about romance and dating and the other intimate details that no one talks about what goes down on the other side. When you think about romance and relationships and these intense relationships that have a meaning or a purpose behind them, they can come in a variety of different ways. So when you get on the other side, those relationships continue on. So if you are one of the fortunate folks who found your soulmate in this life, you're looking over at your life partner and you're saying, I am complete. You are my person. Well, guess what? That will continue on after you pass. You will be there for each other on the other side, and you will continue your love story. It might even be better because you aren't going to have the various different human drama and traumas that you're carrying around in this one. So it will only take that relationship up to the next level when you're on the other side. So whatever you're up to in this one, just imagine in the next life it's going to be 2.0, better and brighter. And then there are some of you who are looking down the couch at the person you're married to, and you love them, or maybe you don't, but you don't feel like they're your soulmate. Not every person that we get married to in our human lives are necessarily going to be the person that we spend eternity with, if you want to view it that way, but they're not necessarily our soulmate. Sometimes we get into marriage relationships because there is a karmic relationship to balance out, or there's something for us to learn or heal through that dynamic, through that relationship. So don't feel that just because you're married to somebody in this life that you have to stick with them in the afterlife. If they are driving you crazy, but you don't want to split up with them in this life, don't worry. You can do whatever you like on the other side. If you want to continue on with that relationship, you can. If you want to part ways, you can do that as well. And now, I really want to speak to those of you who have not found your love in this life. You have not found your soulmate. You're hoping it happens, or maybe you're glad it doesn't because you don't want to bother with other people. Whatever it looks like is fine. But yes, it is possible that in this life, your soulmate, if there is one person that you choose to incarnate with over and over again, this soulmate may not have opted to come into this life with you. It could be that in this life, you needed to be on your own. You needed to do a lot of personal work, or maybe there was some balancing that needed to happen. If you would like me to dig into the singleton life, the solitary life, let me know, put a link down below, and I can do a video that dives into that in detail. But essentially, it could be very intentional and for your highest good that you don't have a soulmate in this life. It doesn't mean you won't find them on the other side. In fact, you will find them on the other side. You will find all of those souls that you incarnate with over and over again and have had romantic relationships, because you have had many romantic relationships and marriages in previous lives. And so on the other side, you're going to reconnect with those folks who may already be in your life, but they may be in your life as your sister or your nephew or your great aunt or your teacher, right? They may not have shown up as a romantic partner in this life for a very specific reason. So yes, on the other side, you're gonna be reconnected with all those loves from previous lives. And you know what? Maybe you want to find new love on the other side. Maybe you want to give a new soul a spin on the dance floor. That certainly is an option too. You will have a lot of relationships to choose from. And if you want to bring somebody new into your experience on the other side, you certainly can. But do know you have some really strong, intense bonds with other souls that you're going to reconnect with on the other side. Okay, so that's a little bit about this life, right? Who we're sharing this life to give us a setup for what we're going to experience on the other side. So when you finally pass, when that bright, shiny day comes, you're going to be greeted by your loved ones on the other side, right? We've all heard the near-death experiences about how that happens. As you acclimate back to the other side and you go into your little soul neighborhoods or your soul pods, whatever your experience of the other side is, you will be reconnecting and re-engaging with those relationships. And those relationships will be very deep and profound because you've shared lifetimes upon lifetimes upon lifetimes with each other. And you're not carrying the same amount of human baggage and drama and patterns that we have in this life. It doesn't mean that you're not you, you're still you, just everything is easier and brighter, so your relationships on the other side are easier and brighter. You're able to connect with each other on a different way. You communicate telepathically with each other. You know each other in a way that you can't know each other here. So relationships on the other side have a totally different quality. There is a much more profound sense of love and respect and understanding and connection. And here's the thing, it's not just with one person, right? As I said, you have all these different lives and you have all these different romantic partners from these previous lives. So on the other side, it might be a little bit more like polyamory. It's not so much that you're connecting up with just one person, though you can. You can do anything you want to do. But because you have such a deep love and deep connection and deep history with all of these different beings, and there is no sense of judgment or jealousy or rivalry or, this offspring needs to be my offspring, which is part of our biological experience, right? There's none of that dynamic and that drama. It's an environment where it's more open for us to have a variety of different types of relationships on the other side. So it can look a little differently than it is here. However, yes, there probably is a primary person that you're going to gravitate to on the other side. Okay. So yes, on the other side, you can do anything that you do in this life. So if you want to go on dates, you can go on dates. If you want to get married, if that's your thing on the other side, you can get married. If you want to have multiple partners, if you want to have one partner, you get to do you. You get to do what you want to do. You can have all of that experience that maybe you're lacking in this life and you're needing to have it on the other side to fill you up. Absolutely, you can do that. Okay, but now let's talk about the juicy one, what everybody wants to know. What about sex? Because this blew my mind. I thought that we didn't have sex in the afterlife, right? I figured it was just a human body thing. But as I was doing a lot of the research from near-death experiences, psychics, mediums, etc., I found out that indeed, yes, there is sex on the other side. So let's talk about what that looks like. So first of all, let's recap what it's like on the other side, right? On the other side, you're not dealing with all of the drama and the negative emotions and all of the human chaos. You're feeling a sense of bliss. You're feeling a sense of calm. You're feeling connected to everything, to the divine, etc. You feel great on the other side. There's nothing to be afraid of when you go over there, really. So when you're in that state, sex just isn't as important. Here, as we're in our human bodies, we have a procreation drive. We have an evolutionary setup, right, that has said we need to carry on offspring. So we have all of these hormones and these urges and these needs. And we also have this feeling of being incomplete. So we're wanting to be with another person to complete us. So there's all these different things that are pushing us to want to have sex, right? It's really important because it keeps our species surviving and moving forward into the future. On the other side, that doesn't exist, right? So already we're feeling pretty great. There's plenty to do. we don't have the importance around sex on the other side that we do in physical form. However, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. But here's also something to think about. We don't have genitals on the other side, right? That's a human body. Human body experience is the genitals. We don't have genitals, but this is what I've heard. But when we decide that we are going to engage in a sexual activity with one of our people on the other side, we grow some genitals for the moment. Yes, apparently that is what happens. I've seen a couple of different sources reference that. So that way, when we want to engage in this sexual activity, that we can connect to what our human experience of that sexual activity was. But here's the thing, sex on the other side is not like what it is in human form. Like everything, it is much, much, much better. You know, in physical form, there's aches, there's pains, there's weird noises, there's weird smells, there's discomfort, there's different dramas, right? We don't have that on the other side. And in fact, this is over and over again very consistent. When we engage in that sexual, if we want to say that, sexual intimacy on the other side, it's more of a merging of souls. So it's not just a physical contact of skin, of bodies. It is a joining together. And the physical experience that you have in this, it's like, I'm going to try to be gentle with my words here. I could be a lot more vulgar and explicit from what I've read, but essentially it's a full body experience. Whereas in our sexual activity, it's particularly located on one particular zone of the body, the genitals. But imagine that feeling over your entire body. It's something incomprehensible. It's one of the things that I read was that having sex in human form is like checking into a Motel 6, but then on the other side, it's like being at the Ritz-Carlton. So it's a very different experience. So that is something to look forward to if you're going to want to check that out when you pop on over to the other side after you say hello to Aunt Flo and Uncle Earl. So that's a high-level overview on romance on the other side. Yes, it does exist. But if you want to learn more about karmic relationships, check out this video that I did where I talk about what karmic relationships are, what you need to know about them, how you can work through current life situations that are karmic that you're wanting to heal and grow and evolve. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.